At 1:45, the air in Ouagadougou's Wagadugu airport was thick with tension, a stark contrast to the cool, starry African night outside. The VIP lounge, usually a quiet enclave for the elite, was now a stage for an unfolding drama that would ripple across history. Normally, at this hour, the airport would be nearly deserted, with only a few night shift security guards, a cleaner or two, and perhaps a stranded passenger waiting for a delayed flight. But tonight was different. Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso's young and resolute leader, stood at the center of it all, his presence commanding the room. His special security team, clad in red berets, had sealed off every corner of the airport, their rifles gleaming faintly under the fluorescent lights. Armored vehicles encircled a French diplomatic plane idling on the runway, its engines humming but takeoff clearance withheld, an order that would never come. Inside the lounge, condensation fogged the windows, mirroring the stifling atmosphere within. Around a long, polished table sat Traoré, his intelligence chief Colonel Madou Caboret, Airport Director Ousmane Dio, Justice Minister Aminata Traoré, and the night's uneasy protagonist, French Ambassador Jacques Dubois. Sweat glistened on Dubois's forehead, soaking into the collar of his tailored suit. His hands trembled, though he shifted in his seat to conceal it. On the table before them lay a list, meticulously compiled, that Traoré had placed there himself. All of this, he said, his voice steady but heavy with implication, is money earned from our gold. The room was silent, every eye fixed on him, the weight of his words sinking in. Dubois, struggling to maintain composure, began to speak. Mr. President, this must be a misunderstanding. Diplomatic immunity under international law. Traoré raised a hand, cutting him off. His eyes held not anger but a deep, weary disappointment. Immunity, Ambassador, he said, his tone calm yet unyielding, is not a shield for stealing our country's wealth. A diplomatic passport does not grant license for theft. Caboret, seated to Traoré's right, opened a thick file, pulling out a series of photographs, grainy stills from the airport security cameras. 4:47 p.m., he read aloud, his voice clipped and precise. 3 vehicles from the French embassy enter the airport. 11:15 p.m., these 17 suitcases are loaded onto the plane. 11:38 p.m., you arrive at the VIP lounge. 11:45 p.m., the plane requests takeoff clearance. Dubois's face tightened, but he leaned forward, his voice rising. These are diplomatic cargo, protected under the Vienna Convention. Justice Minister Aminata interrupted, her voice sharp. The Vienna Convention also states that diplomatic cargo must not contain weapons, drugs, or illegal materials. What's in these suitcases, Ambassador? Dubois's eyes flickered toward the door, where 2 red-beret soldiers stood like sentinels. There was no escape. Open them, Traoré ordered, a single word that filled the room with gravity. 2 soldiers stepped forward, lifting the first suitcase onto the table. It was black, sturdy, adorned with diplomatic seals. Caboret photographed each seal, his camera clicking methodically. Evidence, he said, so no one can deny it. The lock clicked open, and the lid was raised slowly. When the contents came into view, Ousmane Dio let out an involuntary whistle. My God, he murmured. The suitcase was filled with neatly stacked euro banknotes, each bundle wrapped with bands bearing the seal of the French Central Bank. Caboret slipped on gloves and lifted a stack, euro 100 notes, 10,000 euros per bundle. He counted swiftly. Exactly 1 million euros, he announced. But this is just the beginning. Traoré reached into a side compartment of the suitcase, revealing gold bars, each stamped with Burkina Faso's mark. Our gold, he said, his voice low but resonant. Gold from our country's mines, the product of our people's labor. Dubois's face drained of color. I don't know about these, he stammered. Embassy personnel acting on their own, don't lie, Aminata snapped. Look, each bar has a date. All extracted within the last month, all leaving without export records. But who received the payment? The second suitcase was opened, revealing hundreds of pages, documents, not photocopies, but originals, as Traoré confirmed with a UV light. Traoré's face grew grimmer as he leafed through them. Mining maps, he said, his voice tightening. Gold reserves not yet announced to the public. Uranium deposits. Even, he paused, his eyes narrowing. Our newly discovered oil fields. Traoré's voice was incredulous. This information is ultra-secret. Only 5 people know. You, me, the energy minister, the chief of staff, and, he stopped, his gaze falling on a name in the documents. Geology director Pascal Ouagadougou, Traoré finished, Dio, the airport director, leaned forward. How valuable is this information? Aminata answered, her tone icy. If foreign companies learn this in advance, they can position themselves before tenders, buy land, make agreements with local firms. Billions of dollars in advantage. As the third suitcase was opened, Du Bois made a feeble attempt to stand. I need to use the restroom, he said. Sit down, Traoré ordered, his voice unchanged but laced with steel. We're just getting started. Traoré spread photographs from the third suitcase across the table, each image a damning revelation. Minister Ouagadougou at a nightclub in Paris, he said, holding up a photo. Who's with him? French arms dealers. Another photo. General Co at a bank in Geneva. What's that briefcase in his hand? Money. Another. Governor Zangrana's wife shopping in Paris. Who's paying? A French mining company. The images were relentless, each meticulously time-stamped, a chronicle of blackmail and compromise. What were you going to do with these? Traoré asked Du Bois, his voice low but piercing. The ambassador remained silent, the answer too obvious to voice. The fourth suitcase revealed a chilling array of state-of-the-art spy equipment, listening devices small enough to fit in a pen, cameras disguised as buttons, bird-sized drones, signal jammers, frequency scanners. Traoré examined one device, his eyes widening. This has an NSA logo. American intelligence equipment. How did it get to France? NATO, Traoré said simply. Technology sharing among allies. But the place of use? Africa's independent countries. The fifth suitcase contained identities, dozens of fake passports, driver's licenses, diplomatic cards, all bearing different names but the same faces. Dio held up a passport. I recognize this one. He came last month as a human rights observer. Aminata showed another. This one was here last week as a journalist. He interviewed Minister Ouagadougou. Same person, Traoré said, pointing to 3 IDs. Jean-Pierre Martin, François Du Bois, Michel Bernard. Different names, different professions, different countries. Traoré rose and walked to the window, staring at the plane still waiting on the runway. How many years have you been playing this game? He asked, his back to Du Bois. How many years have you sent spies to our country, controlled our leaders with blackmail, stolen our gold, our uranium, and now our oil? The sixth suitcase deepened the silence. Inside were Burkina Faso's most sensitive military documents, deployment plans, weapons inventories, personnel lists, vulnerabilities. This is kept in the General Staff's safe, Traoré said, stunned. Only 3 people have access. 4, Traoré corrected. You forgot the cleaning lady, Mariam. 20 years in the General Staff office, unnoticed, but she sees everything, hears everything. Traoré shook his head. Mariam? That old woman? Don't be fooled by appearances, Traoré said. The best spies are those who arouse the least suspicion. The seventh suitcase brimmed with cash, dollars, euros, pounds, even Chinese yuan. Bribery fund, Aminata said, her voice dripping with contempt. Payments in whatever currency they want. The eighth contained luxury goods, watches, jewelry, electronics, each tagged with a card. Traoré read one aloud, Dear Minister Traoré, a small gift. Another, for General Kafando's valued wife. Another, graduation gift for Governor Zangrana's son. They're buying families too, Aminata said, disgusted. Not just officials, but their wives, their children. The 9th suitcase brought a gasp from Traoré. Inside were documents about Traoré's private life, photographs, audio recordings, even medical reports. My last checkup results, Traoré said, holding up a page. Only my doctor and I knew. Traoré showed another document. Transcripts of your private security meetings, word for word. Date, last Tuesday, 3 p.m. Location, secure room. Participants, you, me, the defense minister. Subject, closure of French bases. We swept that room, Traoré said. There can't be a listening device. Maybe not a device, Traoré said, but a person. The room fell silent as eyes darted between them. Only 3 people had been in that meeting, and all were present now. Unless, Traoré said slowly, the defense minister, Traoré said. He came for 5 minutes, left for an urgent call. About an arms shipment. From France. The 10th suitcase held scientific reports, geological surveys, soil analyses, water resource maps. State secrets, Aminata said. Our universities and research centers worked years on these. Now French companies will use them to make offers, as if they discovered them. The 11th contained propaganda materials, brochures, posters, videos proclaiming a new future for Burkina Faso. Traoré read a name, leader, General Laurent Quimper. Traoré's eyes narrowed. We thought Quimper died in the 2019 coup attempt. Apparently he's alive, Traoré said, and the French have been hiding him. A stinking of colonialism. The broadcast ended with thousands of Burkinabe flooding the streets of Ouagadougou, waving flags and chanting, "Long live independence. Down with colonialism." They called themselves Sankara's children, invoking the legacy of their revered leader. In Paris, crisis meetings erupted. The French president fumed, demanding immediate intervention, but his foreign minister urged caution. The whole world is watching. The evidence is clear. If we intervene, we'll lose all of Africa. What will we do, then? Nothing, the defense minister shouted. We'll wait, an old diplomat said, and hope other African countries don't follow. But it was too late. Burkina Faso's defiance sparked a domino effect. In Mali, President Assimi Goïta ordered a review of all French contracts and tightened airport inspections. In Niger, youths protested, chanting, "We want our 17 suitcases too. Our uranium is ours." Similar movements stirred in Guinea, Senegal, and Ivory Coast. Africa's young leaders, inspired by Traoré's courage, began to ACT. The United Nations, an emergency session was called. The French representative decried a violation of diplomatic immunity, but Burkina Faso's delegate countered, "What does international law say about stealing a sovereign nation's resources, blackmailing its leaders, killing Thomas Sankara?" He placed files on the table, copies of the 17 suitcases' contents. Let everyone see. Let everyone know. The Chinese representative voiced support for Burkina Faso's sovereignty. The Russian delegate added, "The age of colonialism is over. Those who don't accept this will be left behind." The U.S. representative stayed silent, caught in strategic ambiguity. That evening, Wagadugu erupted in celebration. Fires lit the squares, drums echoed, and songs filled the air. An old man clutched a photo of Sankara, tears streaming down his face. "We waited 36 years, he said. Finally, justice." A young woman spoke into a microphone, "My father works in the mines for $2 a day, while the gold he extracts is worth $10,000. Now, this will change." Students chanted, "Education will be free. Healthcare will be free. Our resources are ours." In the palace, Traoré, exhausted but resolute, met with his cabinet. "What happens tomorrow?" the defense minister asked. France won't stand idle. We're prepared, Traoré said. We have defense agreements with Mali and Niger. Russia and China have promised support. Most importantly, our people are with us. Economic sanctions, the economy minister asked. We have gold, uranium, soon oil, Traoré replied. We'll print our own currency. We'll trade with partners who respect our sovereignty. This is not 1987. Africa is awakening. The room held its breath as the 17th suitcase was opened. Inside was a single, thick file, its black cover embossed with gold letters, Operation Sankara. Secret. Traoré's hands trembled as he opened it. The first page bore the date October 15, 1987, the day Thomas Sankara was killed. Objective, Traoré read aloud, elimination of Thomas Sankara and installation of a pro-Western government. The room fell silent. Participants, French Secret Service DGSE, CIA Liaison Officer, Blaise Compaoré, and 12 Burkinabe officers. Method, armed assault during a palace meeting. Result, operation successful. Compaoré brought to power. French interests secured. He turned the pages, revealing photographs, Sankara's body, bullet-ridden, blood-stained. Then, a chilling revelation, Operation Sankara, Phase 2. Date, 2023 to 2024. Target, Ibrahim Traoré. Objective, elimination of Traoré, who continues Sankara's legacy. Method, political pressure, economic embargo, and, as a last resort, physical elimination. Preparation, purchase of 17 high-level Burkinabe officials, preparation of Laurent Compaoré as backup leader. Budget, 50 million euros. Approval, Paris. Status, active. Traoré closed the file, his face unreadable but his eyes heavy with sorrow. 36 years, he said. The same scenario, the same methods, the same killers. He turned to Dubois, who had risen, stammering, I didn't know about these, I swear. Just the suitcases, be quiet, Traoré said. It's not time to talk anymore. He turned to Compaoré. Colonel, everyone on the 17-name list will be arrested immediately. Their homes and offices searched, their assets seized. Yes, sir, Compaoré replied. Aminata, Traoré continued, call an extraordinary parliament meeting tomorrow morning. These documents will be shown to the MPs. The people will know everything. Understood, Mr. President, she said. Dio, close the airport. No one enters or leaves. Cancel all flights. As you command, Dio replied. Finally, Traoré faced Dubois. You, ambassador, get one chance. You'll return to Paris, but not alone. You'll carry a message, copies of everything in these 17 suitcases, every document, photograph, recording. He stepped toward the window, where dawn was breaking, the African sun rising on the horizon. Burkina Faso is no longer a colony. Our gold, our uranium, our oil are ours. You cannot buy our people with blackmail, threats, or money. You killed Thomas Sankara, but you couldn't kill his ideas. He turned to Dubois. Tell Laurent Compaoré and his friends to come. We're ready. This time, the result will be different. What if France reacts? Dubois asked. Sanctions. Military intervention. Let them come, Traoré said. It's not 1987. Africa is awakening. Mali, Guinea, Niger, we're together. And the world is watching. At 6 a.m., Burkina Faso's national television cut into its broadcast. Traoré appeared, flanked by the 17 suitcases. Dear citizens, he began, tonight, we witnessed one of the most important events in our history. For 2 hours, he revealed the contents live to the world, documents, photographs, money, weapons. 17 suitcases, he concluded, 17 million, 17 traitors. But we are 17 million Burkinabe, and now we are awake.